Hi everyone, welcome to my page. This week's topic is something that one of you guys brought to my attention, and I feel like it's a very interesting topic for me to cover because it's something that affects so many of us. We spend so much of our time at work. It's a crucial part of our day-to-day, and if it's not a happy environment, then obviously it'll affect our life in other areas. And that's how to deal with difficult people at work and what to do when you're surrounded by a narcissistic boss or colleagues and there's a lot of office politics. We need to know how to keep our cool, manage it, and rise above it so that we're successful in our careers and we don't allow the outside noise get in the path of that. If you haven't been to my page before, welcome. I'm Hamasa. I look at personal development as well as mental and emotional well-being and just day-to-day issues. Please do subscribe to my page if you haven't already so that you're up to date with all my weekly content. Now, this is something that I actually went around asking a few of my friends and my brother because they all work in corporate environments, and as much as my job entails of me going to studios and shooting with different teams where we also have drama and politics and all the rest of it. It could happen even if you meet someone for one day. But it's very different when you're in an environment where you see that person day in, day out, and they're giving you a hard time, or there's some sort of animosity between you guys, or tension, or jealousy, or competitiveness, and a whole heap of other things. It could even turn personal. So if that's happening with someone and you're forced to kind of see them day in, day out, and they're making life difficult for you, then what should you do to deal with this? And the first thing to do, or the first thing that I got told, is to make sure whatever you do, you wait out your probation. If it's 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is, be good, be great. You're there to do a job. That's why you're hired. So do the job. Do it at your best possible ability. You need to show the company or the management the value that you bring to the company. You need to display yourself as a high value member of the team. This not only sets you apart from the rest of your colleagues, but it also, if there's some sort of competition, if you're very good at what you're doing, you make yourself the expert in your area and you know what you're talking about, you will deal with it with a lot more confidence, but also they will see the value that you bring to the table, and therefore things may work out more in your favor because everybody's there to do a job, and if you're doing a better job than, let's say, the person you're competing with, naturally that goes to you. So first and foremost, go through your probation and make yourself very, very useful. Even if you are dealing with some sort of drama, whatever, try and bite your tongue, be good, stay quiet, and concentrate on you. Do not waste your energy and time and effort on keeping other people happy, trying to make friends, trying to win brownie points and with other colleagues, gossiping, being the fun person. There is a time and place for that, and the first 6 months of your probation period is not the one. It doesn't mean don't be friendly, it doesn't mean be rude, it just means be polite, be very friendly, but draw a line, have a boundary, don't get involved, don't get personal. They don't need to know anything. You don't need to be part of the it clique straight away. You need to establish yourself as a good employee. That's the first point. Once your probation's up and you're still dealing with issues or things that you're unhappy with, important thing here is to understand that at work, it's not a place for you to react. So reactions and so on, you keep for your personal life. In fact, you shouldn't be reacting to anything anyway. You should be responding, which is a difference. But if you're like me, quite fiery and quite outspoken, and you can't help but have a reaction instantly and then deal with it, try your best to not to have that same ethic at work. Work is very different. So if you could take a step back, cool down, and think tactfully onto how to approach a situation, it'll really help you in the long run. Because it's very easy for us to let the emotions take the better of us and just have a reaction, but it's really going to reflect bad on you, even though you may have every reason to have the reaction that you've had. Because it's a professional environment, it will reflect bad on you. So you would need to have to keep your cool, pull yourself together, pull back, think of a response, and then go all guns blazing the correct PC professional way, instead of just like rah, reaction, and then it's too late. Then try, and when you finally do decide to do something about it and you're not reacting, you're responding, my advice would be to not pull rank and go to management. If it's a colleague that's annoying you, or if it's your manager, don't go to the person above them. Always try and address the issue at the source, because that's the person who will resolve it, or can resolve it for you, really. Excuse me, sorry. I've been ill for like a month and I'm so fed up with it. But anyway, it's important for you not to create that animosity, because if you start pulling rank and involving management when it could have been resolved at the source, all you're doing is digging your own grave. And you're making things more awkward, not just with that colleague that you have a problem with, but you're going to come across like a bit of a snitch. And so everybody else in the office would also not like your approach and what you like, because they're going to think that you're a bit of a snake. So to avoid that, it's best that if you have a problem with someone, go and speak to them yourself. Address it at the source, they're the issue. And when you do go to approach the topic, make sure that you know your stuff. Know facts, have evidence, be sure of what you're saying. Have an outcome in mind when you approach that topic or conversation. Because again, emotions take over, and when emotions take over, you steer away from your argument. You won't make the point you want. The other person will get defensive. It will turn into an argument. It'll cause commotion, and you won't actually resolve anything. So the best thing to do is to have your outcomes written down or noted, whatever you need to do. Have them clearly set out, so that when you do go and speak to the person about it, and every time you do get emotional and you do get a bit worked up and steer off the topic and speak about other things, you bring it back to the outcome and the goal that you want out of this conversation. So every time that happens, it's like, okay, but what am I doing this for? I need this done because this person's stepping all over my work, or this is the point, this is my point, this is my point. And if you keep doing that in your own head, then you can bring the conversation back to the other person and keep it on topic and not get emotional. After you've spoken to them or you've said your piece, the other important thing is to listen. Because in the workplace, you may think that you're doing everything fabulous and you're wonderful, but it's not always the case, and you may not be aware of it. So sometimes you need the other people to come and say their piece, or why they did the things they did, or where you're going wrong, or what you can do to improve and to help the situation. So make sure that you listen to people and what they have to say about the situation, and also validate them. Because the minute you validate someone when they're speaking to you, you have now made them feel comfortable enough for them to let their guard down and listen to what you have to say. Validation makes people less defensive. And if you're going to speak to a colleague and they get defensive, if they express how they feel about the situation, you've got to give it to them that, well, you know what, if I was in your position, I'd probably feel the same, I understand. Then straight away that defensiveness goes, and they feel more comfortable in being open to listen to what you have to say. And once you've listened and you've talked and you've done your piece, and it's still not working, and the bullying or the tension or the awkwardness still continuing, that's when you need to approach HR or management. Because you've done what you needed to do with the person, you've given them a chance to rectify, you've given them the time to speak, you've given them the respect, and it's still not changing, then you need to then take the next step. And that's when you approach HR or your management and see if you could resolve this and find a solution for it. And again, in order to do that with work, because it's a professional environment and there needs to be, it's not just like he said, she said, they can't go by your word or their word. There has to be some sort of proof and evidence of the bullying or whatever. So make sure that you have everything and your argument is planned out and you know what you want to say and you have the facts to back it. it's not opinion based. And finally, if you've done that and that's not really getting you anywhere, and you're not really still seeing improvement, or management's not really stepping in to help you, then make sure that you have all your evidence gathered, but not on the work PCs, computers, premises, none of that. Get them printed out, because legally then you would be at fault by taking like the office property and information. So in order to protect yourself, have everything that you need, the evidence, and have it printed out at home with you if you wanted to take it further. Let's say you're dealing with sexism or racism or something like that. Make sure that you have all the evidence in writing, in whichever format you can have it as proof, and have it out of the work premises so that it's in your property and it's yours and it's printed out. It's, it's not on the work computer. That way you've got yourself protected and you've taken the right steps, you've taken precaution, and you have the proof to back that what's going on to you, the bullying, whatever it is, that it's happening, and you can prove it. Working with a narcissistic boss or colleagues is incredibly difficult. The best advice, you can't avoid it. It may happen in all your workplaces. There's always going to be someone that's going to rub us the wrong way. There are always people from different walks of life and backgrounds and things. Developing an understanding and being adaptable in situations like that could help you immensely, because knowing where people are coming from and understanding that everybody's different will really help you not take things so personal, and understand that it's more of a reflection of them than things being wrong with you. And if that's really pushing it and making it difficult for you, then there are things that you can do. Take the right avenues, approach it at the source, speak up, don't be afraid to be yourself, take your space. You have to prove yourself, like I said. You have to show that you're a high value member of the team, and in order to do that you need to take space. You need to take elbows out. This is me, I've arrived, and I'm not going to let you bully me out of that. You deserve to be there. You're there on merit, so fight your corner, but do it in the correct way, and understand that there are things and organizations and people and HR and things to protect you. So you're not alone. You just need to have the facts right and be an expert in your area so that you could confidently argue your point. I hope you guys found this helpful. Like I said, my work environment is not very conventional, so it's not the typical things I deal with, but I do understand, because it just comes in different. It's the same thing essentially, but just dressed differently or sugar-coated in a different light. But at the end of the day, we all kind of deal with difficult people, and we will come across people like that. We just have to know how to manage it. If you know that someone may need this, please do share it with them. Thank you for joining me today, and if you have any video suggestions for me, please do write it in the comments below. Subscribe to my page, like and comment on this, and I'll see you guys here again next week. Thank you for watching. Mwah.